Did y'all watch the Janet doc?
Sure
Yes,
did.
ma'am.
Woo.
Yes,
Sure
ma'am.
Okay,
did.
so
Yes,
Community,
ma'am.
here's your spoiler alert. If you haven't watched it yet, we about to talk about it because we've been like hyping this shit up for like the last year since we saw the first trailer. So here's your chance. Fast forward, look in the timestamps in the episode notes because here we go. So who wants to go first? What you think, Jerrell?
Um,
Like overall, and then maybe we'll start to dissect it.
Overall, it was cool. Overall, it was cool. I still don't felt as if it was like as authentic as real. Like I felt like I was a little force fed, kind of a particular image that was shown. But I did get to, I enjoyed that most of the focus was truly on her.
Mhm.
Now, how much of it was the made for TV for home, you know, I don't know. But when you think about what you know about Joe Jackson, you know, when we know about Michael, like her story just felt very fluffy compared to some of the other stories we've heard and that we know about the family
Mm-hmm.
and the history. Um, but I will say this, it reminded me just how much of a bad bitch Janet Jackson is.
Period.
Mhm.
Like, and I'm not saying was, is,
Is
Mhm.
you
yeah.
know,
Yep.
like Beyonce is my queen. Beyonce is my queen. But I cannot say Beyonce is my queen without first thinking about Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this documentary reminded me of just how much she was doing that like was pushing the envelope that was so different than what we were seeing, you know,
She's the
and
blueprint.
music.
She
Yeah,
is the blueprint.
she really freaking is.
Mhm.
And I loved, love seeing the evolution of just like each album was a different version of her. Like you just saw her grow, you saw her change. Like all
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that I love about Beyonce, I'm just like, damn,
Janet did it
Janet did
first.
that. Yeah, like literally, it was
Yeah.
like, damn,
Mhm.
Janet did it first, yo. Like,
Mhm.
um, so I thought that was cool. I feel like some of the people that were talking in the documentary as well, though, too, just again goes back to that force. Felt like they were trying to get people who would speak on things for a certain type of view.
Yeah.
But like there were some people who didn't even need to be in there. Like Mariah Carey was in there for like 2 seconds, and I was just like,
And she
what?
made it about her. She's like, I wish I could have had my titties out.
Exactly. I wasn't allowed to do that.
Right.
you know, I'm just like, people like Missy was barely in there.
Yeah.
Sierra had like a 5 second little clip in there. Like it was just weird. There were so many people who were in there that didn't have much to say. That they didn't say much.
Yeah.
So it was just like, what's the point? It felt like they were trying to fill space for
Yeah.
me. So, but overall, I enjoyed it. I love seeing that her albums were like number one,
Period.
Mhm.
top on the charts, and some of her songs as well too. That's literally all I did after watching it was literally went and played Velvet Rope. I played
Yep.
Janet, played All for You, like Control. Like it just reminded me how much of a bop. Like she's got
Yes.
bop after bop after bop after bop after
Bops.
fucking bop,
You
yo.
and you don't have albums that have like how many albums have five number one songs, seven number one songs on one
Mm-hmm.
album?
It didn't do it until Katy Perry did it with her California Girls album. That's the only
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
person, which is crazy to say Katy Perry, but it's just like
Mm-hmm.
it lasted that long,
Uh huh.
Yeah.
and it's so hard, and it hasn't really been done since even now Katy Perry. Like that
Yeah.
Ariana
shit is
Grande
hard to
Ariana
do.
Grande is the only
And
other person that
Yeah,
has done that.
it's just
Mm-hmm.
like that shit's hard to do.
and
Yeah.
one could only imagine if, the whole Super Bowl thing did not happen.
Yeah,
One could only imagine.
yeah,
Like imagine if Serena Williams, like got banned for tennis
yeah.
like at the
The
height of her
height.
career. Let's call it
Mm-hmm.
10, let's just say 10 years
Literally
ago.
the height. Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's just and coming back into it, like that degree of separation, like all the the ways that she as an artist could have pushed the genre forward and been more of of a trailblazer, you know, for other women artists and whatnot. One could only imagine what she could have
I
accomplished, you know,
completely
had
agree.
that not happened.
Yeah.
You know,
And they let her out there to like, I have to say this, the fact that she said too that she's like, I told Justin. She was like,
Yeah.
that was the part I was like, damn.
I was like,
You
oh.
told Justin not to say anything.
Black Twitter wasn't having it though. Black Twitter was like, fuck that, fuck Justin.
I said the same thing. I said the same thing to Fizz. I was like, I'll forgive Justin. And I said, nope, I tried it, can't do it. I said
Twitter was
Beyonce
not
forgave
forgiving.
Jay-Z, and I still call him Beyonce's husband. I still haven't forgiven him.
Oh,
No,
damn. I was
this
like,
is
Janet
not.
must be featured on Justin's new album or something.
Because the
hope
real
not.
thing, because he should have done it anyways. He should have said
Yes.
something anyway.
Yes.
Like if someone was like, "Hey, I would take the heat," that would make me want to step in even more. But like, no, like I appreciate you. No, we're gonna go through this together. You
Yeah.
know.
and to couple that with the fact that his career took off on the, you know, on the heels of, you know, her embarrassment. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
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 No.
It was interesting too, just like for how massive Janet was, because unfortunately, like the Super Bowl kind of dimmed or artificially dimmed the star. I'll say it that way. But just to see some, like, because as a Janet fan, a lot of it I kind of already knew, so I was like, okay, it's just a refresher course. Here, a few little nuggets. I was like, oh, okay, that further explains something. But like just to see the behind of the scenes, you forget like during the Janet era how big she was, and then the Michael shit to come along, and so for her to lose like that Coke deal, like that would have been like massive because like to have Janet as Coke and everybody knew the Jacksons as Pepsi, that would have been fire.
Yeah.
That would have been so fire. So it just sucks that. Like she said it, like, you know, like she's like, I support my brother, but it's like the guilty by association. And she's like, of course I'm going to support my brother, but did it have negative connotations and repercussions for my career as well? Absolutely. And for her to even do Scream, and it was just sad to kind of hear like how she said like during certain times in their lives where she just felt that switch, and it just shows you how crazy fame is. And how big Michael Jackson was, like that even within the family dynamic, she saw it switch, and sometimes it's like almost impossible to stop it. But for her to still support her brother and do like the Scream album, and then still be on set and be like, "Damn, they still trying to separate us." Like, you know, that's wild, and it was interesting for her to kind of be vulnerable in that aspect.
How was it a $7 million music video?
Honey, I remember they used to have that on TV saying it was 7 million. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, because it was all of the artificial like
The digital stuff.
it's basically all digital, like all
And
of
the guitars each were
integrations
like
and
50 grand each, and they broke like 20 guitars. I was like, that's crazy.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
rich when you could get like a $50,000 guitar and have all these takes of you just breaking guitars.
But I'm so glad that they did that video together. I'm sure she's like really grateful that they had the opportunity to do that video together, because obviously they performed together as kids, but there's nothing like, you know, being in your grownness and doing something creative and whatnot. And it was so cute, like watching brother and sister in that bedroom, like drumming up lyrics and, you know, talking shop and like doing the stuff that they love.
And I still wish he used the lyric, the whole system's fucked instead of sucks. I was like, yeah, Michael, talk that shit. The whole system is fucked. He's like, of course I can't say that though.
Mom would be upset.
Right? That's wild that they still, just Katherine Jackson looks amazing and she's like 94 years old. Rebe looks amazing and she's like 71 years old. Janet's gonna look like Rebe at that age. Like they look similar to me. Like it's weird. They all look the same to me, but I'm like, ooh, Rebe, come on, Miss Centipede.
I felt like I really enjoyed the documentary. You know, and I mean, you have to take it with a grain of salt, knowing how private Janet is and how she operates. The fact that the little bits of new things that we did get, you know, like for example, the Renee Elizondo, you know, home movies and whatnot. That to me was mind blowing to have insight, because, you know, we knew that eventually we all found out that she was married and been married for like 10 years and like after the fact, so that's how private it was. But you really didn't know any details about their relationship. And just to see them like frolicking together on the beach and, him proposing to her, underneath the tree in the park and, like having their interactions and watching them work together on like, on, tour and in the videos was just really, it was really cool because it's just a side that you didn't get to see.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I don't know if this is like, I don't know how much creative control she had over the whole vision of this thing. But I feel bad for someone like Janet who ultimately has to share the spotlight with other people. Like it's supposed to be Janet's documentary, and like even she had mentioned like whenever I would go somewhere they would always ask me about my brother, blah 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 blah. And it's like even in this documentary that's supposed to be about her, they're bringing other things in that it really shouldn't be about. So I wasn't really a fan of that because I just feel like there's so much stuff that's already out there that talks about that. That's like, why waste the airtime? Yeah. Like, and you're not bringing anything really new,
right,
at all, to the conversation. So, why spend that time doing that? I didn't get that at all.
And I wonder if it's almost like the youngest, not syndrome, but the youngest like feelings, because you kind of hear that a lot from like people that are the youngest, that they always feel like no matter how successful they are and things like that, that they're always in the shadow of their older siblings and things like that. So it's interesting, as big of a star Janet Jackson is, she even felt that. And it's hard because, I mean, your sibling's fucking Michael Jackson. So it's just like, it's wild. And so you almost get a double dose of that. It's like, I'm the youngest in the family, so they probably already pick on me, calling me Dunk and whatever, all those names you were saying.
Right.
And then my brother is Michael Jackson? And so shit, I just had 7 number ones. I just did Control, and your ass is asking me if Michael's baptized. It's like, bitch, give me a beat. Do you know who the fuck I am? So yeah, no, I agree, and it was cool too. Like this was like a very small moment of it, but I loved like obviously the iconic Rolling Stone cover, but I liked looking at the different pictures they also took in that session, and how fucking pretty Janet Jackson is. Janet is so fucking pretty. I'm like, oh, I can't take it.
I love that little studio moment that they showed where she and Jimmy J were not getting along. I was like
that too.
You have not seen this version of Miss Jackson.
And you know why I like that one too? Because like, here goes the music nerd of Kerel. I always listen to Jimmy Jam's interviews because he's just interesting. He talks a shit ton. So like I've learned a lot about Janet through his interviews, and he always brings up this fight, and I'm glad they show the insides of it, because he brings it up in damn near every interview he does. He's like, yeah, because they always ask like, were there ever any disagreements with you and Janet and things like that? And he's like, yeah, there's this one time literally we got fired from Rhythm Nation. And it was cool to see that was probably the moment that he's been talking about for the last 30 years, and to kind of show the insides of it. But where's the rest of this footage? I want to see, like, what else does Renee have?
Yeah.
Because if he didn't have
I'm sure it's a lot because
switch,
he was... Well, and they said that he was recording a lot. I'm sure they had to, like, cut a lot of things. One, they had to, get rights to this stuff because they weren't together. I honestly feel like if Renee never got into drugs, Janet would have still been married. She would have still been married to him. They probably would have had like a gang of kids or whatever. Like the story would have played out so differently. And I was just so sad for her, because throughout the videos she was talking about like who she wants. She's like, yeah, I seem to be attracted to people that that are addicted to drugs. And then it made me wonder, like, okay, well then what happened with you and Wasim? I don't know.
Yeah, honey, he was not in the documentary.
At all.
Well, damn. I was like,
that NDA is strong. It's ironclad. She's like, you will not mention my name. You will not show a picture. You will not do anything.
Damn. Didn't even acknowledge that she had another relationship after Jermaine Dupri, who slept around on. I'm like, him and Jay, how you gonna sleep on Janet and Beyonce? Like, who you fucking? Like, who?
Anybody and anything. Look, when your wife is out on the road,
Yeah,
I'm not saying excuses, but I'm just saying, like, you know, when your wife is out on the road or whatever, and you out and pussy being thrown in your face 24/7, like like these chicken heads be doing.
It was crazy to think that they were doing a long distance relationship, though, that he was in Atlanta and she was in LA. Like,
and then the whole the bars. Like, oh, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, like, like it sounds like a lot, but I mean, when you're a person of means and you can easily hop on a private jet and be like, I'll be there in a couple hours. It's like,
I'll see you in 5 hours.
Yeah, that's a good point. Right.
It's like it's not even the full work day. Like I don't even see I see my husband less during the day too. But it was just interesting how much she divulged about the DeBarge stuff too. Like she was kind of like still, and it was interesting. Like it almost sounds like a lot of these relationships, and I mean I get it. Like we all kind of carry some kind of baggage here and there, even if it's minute. There's something still that kind of maybe emotionally is there. But since like 18 carrying that shit, and it was just crazy. She's like, yeah, here I am in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Because people forget that DeBarge is from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yeah. She's like, we just got married. And he said, I'll be right back. And he never came back because he was out doing drugs. Like, yet she still felt, I need to help him. I need to save them. And that's a lot of feelings that a lot of us have had to deal with, is just trying to save people. But it's not your choice. It's not your burden to bear. No matter if you're married, not married, whatever.
Isn't it interesting? Because all I kept thinking about with DeBarge is that, we knew that they eloped. Yeah. And so the stories, and in the absence of, additional details about their relationship, people make up their own stories in their minds about what that's supposed to be like. I had always assumed that this was like a star-crossed lovers kind of like, we were just magnetized, drawn to one another, just crazy in love and da-da-da-da-da. And it's just wild that, like, she said he never really proposed to her. They just went to a friend to get like them married
at church or something like that. I was like,
right.
Oh, okay.
It felt the way that it was being told was very not anti-romantic. When you think about this girl who's grown up in the public eye, and she could basically have dated and have any man that she could have wanted, especially at that time too. She was on and popping. She was she was part of this big family dynasty, the Jackson 5, and Michael Jackson was popping off or whatever. So at that time, like she could have been with whoever she wanted to. And for all these years, I've been thinking that, oh wow, it's just a shame that the relationship ended, whatever. But they must have had like a crazy kind of romance, and like to hear that it was kind of like not
anticlimactic, right?
It was like, oh wow,
and that it still like affected her because she started crying. And here's the thing, like overall, and I guess I didn't give my opinion, just overall, I felt like I wanted more Janet, like maybe even like Janet of today.
Sprinkle a little more.
Just kind of like
a little more,
a
little more
like,
nasty.
I didn't need as many of the old clips, like the Renee clips, dope. Even like the Michael clip at his mom's 80 or his mom's 50th birthday or something like that. Michael, like the Thriller days, Michael's just singing at his mom's birthday party, dope clip. But I'd rather her almost have these sit down moments of like, yeah, this was how I was feeling at the time, instead of kind of just these archives and things like that. I feel like that was a missed opportunity. Because like when it started with her just like crying at the mural in the car, I was like, oh, this about to be good. Is she crying already? And then it kind of just didn't go there. It was cool. There, yeah. I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad she did it. But it just didn't quite go there for me. And
well, maybe this is Janet's, and this is me like like just projecting or just thinking positively. Maybe this is her tiptoe in the world of opening herself up. So maybe this is like this documentary was kind of like a peek behind the curtain. Whereas, when she drops that new album and she goes on tour again and things start going on and popping or whatever, and then she does another documentary, we get the good stuff.
I don't know. She ended up saying like, I'm going out with a bang and that's it. So it sounded like she got like one more album, one more tour, and said, bitch, I'm raising my kid. Bye. So, but no, it again just reminded me how much I love Janet though.
Yeah,
Like I
agreed.
adore me some Janet Jackson. Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like at the end of the day, like I wasn't like wowed, but it just reminded me how much I'm a fan. I am a stan. I love Janet
yes.
Jackson. Like, can't nobody tell me no when it comes to Janet Jackson. Like, she's that bitch.
Period.
She is.
Period.
She is.
Oh, and I love that Regina King was in there. Regina's like, oh, I think her and Pac got had like
Yeah,
a
she was like, I don't know if she would ever
Right.
admit to this.
because people forget that her and Regina go way back. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like, come on,
Well,
Poetic
it was
Justice.
funny because I had like when I saw Regina King, I was like, what is she? And as soon as I saw it, was like Poetic Justice. Oh my
Yep.
God.
Yep. And then you saw that meme going
Yeah.
around. They're like, this is what Jada looked like, realizing that Pac and Janet had feelings too. I was like, leave
I did not
Jada
see
alone.
that. Oh my god.
I was like, the internet is too stupid for me. Too stupid. Oh my god. Too much. But